Hey y'all, welcome to Sermons on the Side. I'm Brad.
And I'm Richard.
And this is a podcast where we take everyday moments, big or small, and we find the story, the meaning, the sermon tucked inside.
Whether this is your first time or you've been listening all along, we're just glad you're here.
So pull up a chair, hit play on that drive to work, or just hang out with us as we dig into life, faith, and everything in between.
Sermons on the Side, finding meaning in the everyday. Special treat for this episode is that we're going to toss it over to Brad, and Brad has, from his very own experience as a dad and in his family, the Lord preached a sermon on the side to you, and you're going to share that with us in this episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brad.
Man, I appreciate you, Richard. Yeah, this was super cool. This came a couple of weeks ago, and it actually came on a Tuesday, and it was kind of crazy. And so, I'm reminded there was a guy that used to come to our Tuesday groups. I mean, this was several years ago, He was just a rough around the edges. I loved him, dude. He was so funny, and he was so genuine. He was a policeman, I think, in Phoenix City.
Yeah.
And he said one of the true greatest lines that I still quote to this day. We've ever had in our meeting. He said, "You play stupid games, and you win stupid prizes."
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sermons on the Side.
Sermons on the Side.
Yes, indeed, we are here. My name is Richard. His name
is Brad.
Come on. And we are here with another episode of Sermons on the Side just for you. Brad, how you feeling over there, boss?
I got to be honest with you. I'm cooked. I'm cooked.
And why would you say such?
Whoever invented time change did not have kids. Can I just say that? Can everybody who has kids join up with me? I'm talking like for Narnia style in the comments.
Rise up.
Can we please end? You know what? I'm tired.
You know, they tease us every once in a while and say, somebody's gonna do away with daylight savings time.
Hasn't Arizona done away with it?
Yeah, and they're doing fine.
They're still on the map. They're still there. The Cardinals still have a team.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'll tell you this, because most situations in life do, or they at least should, help you reference a line from The Princess Bride. Okay.
Anytime we reference The Princess Bride, it's a good time.
Come on, exactly. And so at one point, when they take Wesley down into the pit of despair and they hook him up to the machine, and, it's just this medieval torture device.
He's not dead. He's only mostly dead. You like that?
That's a great one. Oh, this could get out of hand.
This could. We got to rein this in. We got to just
But at
lock
one point,
in.
The bad guy says to Wesley, after running the machine on him for a little bit, he says, "I just sucked 1 hour of your life away." And that is my favorite daylight savings time meme. Is that guy's face? Is this? I just sucked 1 hour of your life away.
It's so brutal.
Springing forward. I don't think so.
No, hate it. I can get behind fallback.
Thank you very much.
I
I'll take
really
an hour.
can.
Give me an hour.
I love seeing that hour reset on the iPhone. And you say, "Oh, Brad, wait a second. You don't see that happen. It happens in the middle of the night."
Yeah, that does beg the question.
Yeah, I got kids. I'm up all hours of the night, and I love seeing that hour just go 1:58, 1:59, 1. Let's go. Yes. But dude, when we go from 12:59 to 2 a.m.
See, that's messed up.
That's a segment right
there. Oh, well, look, yeah, I feel you on that, and I think we're all. I always liked going to church on the Sunday right after the midnight change, either way, and just watch people either be early or late, depending on what time, which part of the year it was. And it happened to me multiple times in my life.
You were affected by that? Like you were late or you were early?
I showed up late. I was on staff at a church.
The punctual part of me just shuddered inside.
Drove up, parking lot full. Heart sinks.
Okay,
I'm an idiot. I'm like, who did the announcements today? Because it was horrible.
We're gonna have to tell this story another time, but just knowing about the punctualness of the miscommunication that you and I had, and me walking in late was just a brutal moment for me. I just want you to know.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad.
I'm not making that day all about me. We'll talk about that story another time. Folks, we want to encourage you. There's a new way to communicate with us.
Do tell.
It's not new. It's actually been on there for every single episode, but we want to hear from you. So underneath every single podcast, there's the podcast description.
Scroll down.
And there's links to our Instagram and our Facebook and to Richard's awesome Bible readings that's sending out every single Sunday night. Make sure you sign up for that, by the way. But there's also a little link that says, send us a text. And it's super easy. You click it, it pulls up in your messages app, and you can fire off a text. And it doesn't come to our phones or our emails. It just goes to our podcast like hub, and it kind of comes through like an email for us. But it's just a great way for us to hear from you. What you like, what you'd like to hear, what's blessing you, maybe ways that we can pray for you during the week. And so we'd love it, even if nothing else, I tested it earlier and it worked and it was super easy. It was great, but we want to hear from you, right?
That would be so cool. And like you said, it's just a direct connect, if you will. And so we'll ask you guys to do that and remind you about it, because it would be a cool way for us to communicate. And so we appreciate it. We loving all the comments. I'm going to tell a quick reference. Just recently, a mutual friend of Brad and I, he's a part of our recovery community that gathers every week on Tuesday nights. And he was telling us and encouraging us about the podcast. And he was just saying that some of the podcast episodes have been so helpful to him and had really been some fuel for him in his journey of faith and in his walk with the Lord. And he was sharing one of the stories of our podcast. It was the Father's Heart podcast. I think it might have been episode number 5 or something like that. And he was talking about how impactful that was for him, and it allowed him to connect with a family member too. So we want to say, Joe, you are the man, and we appreciate you sharing that. But the reason we wanted to share that story before we get going with our episode today or this week is because it is so encouraging to hear that you can connect with some of the stories that we're telling.
Yeah.
Which is really the reason we're doing it, because we had a feeling that it might be helpful and that others could relate and that we could encourage each other and build each other up in the faith as we're instructed to do in Scripture. So thank you, Joe, for the shout out, and thank you all for listening. It's just another reason we'd love to hear more from you, whether it's through the little send a text button that you just mentioned, or comments on social or whatever it might be. So thank you guys again. Now, special treat for this episode is that we're going to toss it over to Brad. And Brad has, from his very own experience as a dad and in his family, the Lord preached a sermon on the side to you. And you're going to share that with us in this episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brad.
Man, I appreciate you, Richard. Yeah, this was super cool. This came a couple of weeks ago, and it actually came on a Tuesday, and it was kind of crazy. And so, I'm reminded there was a guy that used to come to our Tuesday groups. I mean, this was several years ago, he was just a rough around the edges. I loved him, dude. He was so funny, and he was so genuine. He was a policeman, I think, in Phoenix City.
Yeah.
And he said one of the true greatest lines that I still quote to this day. We've ever had in our meeting. He said, "You play stupid games and you win stupid prizes." That's such a true statement. That. And this is just a lighthearted intro to a very unfortunate event that took place with my sweet 4-year-old daughter just a couple of weeks ago. It was late in the afternoon, and my wife had just gotten home with the kids, and that can be kind of a crazy transition. We had a friend over kind of helping us wrangle them because I was getting ready to leave the house that evening because it was Tuesday, which is the time of our gatherings. Anyways, long story short, there was a fall, a boom.
Oh.
There was crying, and my sweet 4-year-old went chin first into the hardwood floor. And split her chin, man.
Oh,
it
my
was
gosh.
Right on the bottom, not like super visible from the, facing the front, but it was wide open. So
a question I have for you, because this is those parenting moments.
Yeah.
Are you in the room or do you hear the sound from another room?
So
do you see it happen? How did that play?
So she was out of sight from both. I was taking a quick shower.
Okay.
And Lisa and a dear friend of ours was over at the house. And so when I get out of the shower, I hear all the commotion and Lisa's yelling at me, "Brad, get in here." And I freaked out.
Oh, boy.
And I was just praying it wasn't a bone.
Mm-hmm.
I turned the corner. Thankfully, it wasn't. I was like, "Oh, okay, good." And then I saw the blood, and I was like, "Whoa!" Yikes. So we call the pediatrician. We call some family that we were blessed to have a lot of medical, professionals in our immediate family, and
That's
getting some feedback from them. We take her not to the emergency room. Our pediatrician encouraged us to go to this little pediatric urgent care that was just a few blocks from our house, thankfully. And incredible people there. And what happened over the next couple of hours, I don't know if it was more traumatic for her or for me.
Oh, I feel you.
You know what I'm talking about, dude? I don't know if you've been there as a parent, but dude, so number one, my sweet precious daughter is a very dramatic person. I don't know where she gets this over the top extrovert energy. I think it's from her mom and that side of the family. Yeah, it's me. And but she is very I mean, she can be dramatic. And so wrangling her emotions, getting her to calm down. We're going to a new place, and she's just still got this very large open wound. And they were doing an assessment to see if they could glue it, if they could butterfly it, but it was too big, it was too deep. They were going to have to do stitches, and they were going to have to do 4 stitches. And so we started with this topical cream to numb it, and then they gave her a shot of lidocaine. Which,
did she see that needle, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they couldn't have tried to sneak that up under
Oh, there was no sneaking that needle. I mean, and it was also not something that's just a quick poke. It was all around the wound, and I'm not super confident how effective it was because we're holding her down. Bless her heart, she's screaming and crying her eyes out. And here's the image. Okay, there's the hospital bed. Okay, she's laying down on her back. There's one nurse that's holding her head very, very still with both hands.
Okay. So she's got a pretty tight grip.
Very tight grip. And almost angling her chin up.
Okay, so they can do the work, I guess.
There's the other nurse with the needle who has one hand on Becca's head, chin, and the other hand obviously on the needle and the syringe trying to perform the injections just for the needle. That's not to even mention the actual stitches that were to come later. They had me hold her arms down so that way I was at least in eyesight of her. And then there was another EMS first responder kind of holding down her legs and kind of hips and further down. There's 4 grown adults holding down this sweet, precious child that is just, in pain, freaking out, looking at me like, aren't you supposed to be the one that's protecting me from something like this? What is going on? And I'm trying to, encourage her hey, I'm right here. Mommy and daddy are right here. My sweet, precious wife was right next to us and was just making sure she wasn't going to go into labor.
Right.
36
we're getting really
weeks
close.
pregnant at the
Yes.
time. And dude, it was just so traumatic. And so they had to do 4 stitches. I thought they only had to do 3. So after the third, I start reinforcing. Becca, you did it. We're all done. And everybody looked at me in the room and they were like, shut up, Dad. We got one more. I was like, gosh, just one more. Dude, it was, and I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you have seen your child physically in pain. And I know you have,
Right.
but even like a younger, like a 4-year-old that you can't really reason with and like kind of hold a logical, like, hey, just power through this. I promise you can make it through this. You have these intrusive thoughts that start coming. And I know that we were all on the same team, but you're like, dog, I'm about to take this nurse out. She's hurting my daughter. And I'm like, wait a second, hold on, chill out. You know, whatever.
I feel you.
You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. It's exactly the way it feels.
Super traumatic. But as soon as the last stitch went in, and she got all of the popsicles and lollipops and hugs from mom and dad and encouragement from those incredible first responders and those nurses and doctors, she responded so well. There was this huge, this flushed face with sweat and just a little bit of, blood still on her chin. She just had this smile on her face and she said, Daddy, did you see that I did it? And I just was like, yes, baby. Wow. I did see that you did it, And we get in, finally we leave and she's excited to tell her little brother Shep about the whole story. And anyways, from left to right, it was just this crazy night of tears, big emotions. I was thrust into a situation I was not prepared for. Expect holding down and certainly my daughter was put in a situation that she wasn't expecting and preparing for that day. And you just talk about one for the ages. That was one that that's going to stick with us for a while.
Absolutely.
And there was,
goodness.
On reflection. Okay.
Yeah.
On reflection, there were several kind of themes or sermons that on the side kind of were arise from that experience that I'd love to share with you. And the first one kind of applies to both me and to Becca and to Lisa, who was in the room. But pain can be a pathway to healing. And I'm reminded by the Bible verse, by the scripture, Psalms 30 verse 5, that weeping may tarry for the night. Pain may last for the duration of the night, but joy comes in the morning. And I think about even that night, like there was pain for Becca. There was weeping.
Yes.
But when she woke up that next morning, she was excited. She was ready to show off her stitches at school. And, there was almost this joy of this, look at this hard thing that I've kind of fought myself through. Yeah, I got a scar and I've got a story, but that story is a testimony, right? And so I don't know. I feel like I'm preaching a little bit, but
but that resonates so much. And that, that's a story, we're talking about in Becca's world and with her perspective as a young child. But doesn't that happen for us where, the weeping may endure and the pain is there. And we may be wondering, how long is this quote unquote night going to last before the joy comes? But pain, no, I love the way you said it because pain is a pathway to healing.
Absolutely. I've experienced that in my life in more ways than just 4 stitches on the chin.
Right.
Absolutely have. And that verse is special to us in many ways because that was one of Becca's namesakes, Rebecca Joy. And that even through the season that Lisa and I had as we were pregnant with Becca and saw her come into the world, there was pain in that season. There was difficulty. There was uncertainty. And there was a lot of weeping. But joy came in the morning.
Ooh.
And she was born at 7:26 a.m. in the morning. It was just very, very cool. Anyways,
Stop it,
great
man.
verse for
Gosh,
her.
that's good.
Great verse for her. But yeah, pain. Let's not lean away from the pain in our life. The Lord can use that and does use that if we allow Him to.
Golly. Pain as
a pathway
as a
to healing.
path.
Yeah.
Golly.
The second thing that I thought about that I've so appreciated the Lord kind of just revealing these very gracious to me these fatherly moments that I have towards my children, that He just kind of taps me on the shoulder and this is how I feel towards you times a million, and I'm like, oh my word, how that just kind of, last episode we talked about our perspective being opened if we just allow Him to, man, if pressing into that has really allowed my perspective to change. Here it is. The second point that I kind of want to make is a father's heart breaks for his children when they are in pain. I think sometimes we are going through that pain and we might understand, yes, that it is a pathway for healing and that God is somehow removed from that. That he is unbothered by that and is on His throne with a scowl or a stern look on His face going, all right, learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
There can be meaning and there can be purpose, but man, when I was holding that sweet little girl, her arms down, and I knew that she was going to be fine.
Right.
And I knew that all she had to do was just last a couple more minutes. But when I saw her in pain and in anguish, yes, there's the part of me that's excited for her to learn the lesson and to know that she can do it. And sure, but in that moment,
brutal, right?
Oh, dude, my heart is just breaking for the pain that that's the most pain she's ever experienced. And you know what I'm saying? And I have felt the Lord as I'm remembering that day and recounting that story with friends and family, and even now, reminding me and reminding all of us, the Father's heart breaks for us. And Psalms 103:13 says, as the Father has compassion on His children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear Him.
Man, I feel your heart pouring out in this story, and especially in that particular part. I remember hearing a preacher say one time that when we're emotional about our pain, there are these guttural instincts that come up that are like, we assume the worst about the outcome, but we also, as children of God, if we're not careful, we could start assuming the worst about God.
That's right.
And we could kind of like, God, don't you care what I'm going through? And this preacher said it this way: don't buy the lie that God is unmoved by your pain. God is the most moved.
Oh, yes.
Nobody feels it more than He does because you are His child. I'm His child.
Yeah, and I've said that line more than any other line when I've told the story. So I don't know who was more traumatic for, me or Becca. Everyone's like, oh, come on, it was Becca. And I'm sitting here going, I really think it might have been me. I mean, yeah, dude.
Oh man,
that's such a good line. He's what was it?
He's not unmoved.
He's not unmoved by your pain. He is the most moved by our pain. Oh, I feel like there's a listener right now who just needs to sit in that truth and just know that the Father, His heart is moving towards you. There are promises in Scripture that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and to be reminded that there is compassion available to us for those that fear the Lord. Wow, that's so good, dude. The last thing, this little 3 points in a poem, right? The last one is just, we can overcome the challenges of life with God's promise. He's always with us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. And Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, I'm with you. Don't be dismayed, because I am your God.
I am with you.
I am with you." And that was the one thing I kept reassuring Becca is, I'm not going anywhere. are you going to leave the room, Daddy? Because there was a lot of in and out, a lot of this and that. No, I'm staying with you the whole time. I am with you. And the Lord is with us, and the Lord is with you. And
that's right.
So there you go, dude. There's how'd I do on my sermon on the side?
Bro, crushed it. Crushed it. People are going to be clamoring for more Brad sermons.
No,
on
dude.
the side,
No, hey, this is fun. This is fun. It was a great night. It had a great ending to a crazy night, and that's a lot of our stories. That there can be great endings to crazy nights. If we trust, I heard this line recently in another podcast. If we trust our story with the greatest storyteller, if you trust your story with the greatest storyteller, then there will be joy in the morning. Amen.
Oh, that's so well said. So, Brad, thanks for being generous with your family's story and with your heart in that sermon on the side. Guarantee the Lord is speaking to a lot of folks right now because he's speaking to me as you shared that sermon on the side. Good stuff, man. So, Brad.
Talk to me.
Got a segment for you.
Oh!
Are you people ready for your segment?
Dude, first of all, I'm okay, never mind. I've got so much fun things at my fingertips. I'm about to just start pressing buttons and we're going to have fun.
Oh, I think we should.
Should I just go for it right now? All right,
random.
do the segment intro one more time. Go for it.
Say, Brad.
Yo!
Ready for your segment?
Okay. All right. Okay. That's all I got. There we go.
I love it.
I'm ready for the
man.
segment.
I love it. This is just, the production value.
It is so
just
good.
off the charts.
Hold on. You know what it was after I did the air horn?
What?
Everybody's like, all right, this guy has an air horn button.
Crickets.
He found the crickets button. Yeah! There's an applause button. All right, I'm sorry. I'm having way too.
We're in trouble.
Turn that off.
We're in trouble, folks. All right, so this segment, this is something that I've been really wanting to talk about for some time, and I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, to ever doing this, or ever laughing/mocking people who do it.
Okay,
and it is misheard song lyrics.
Ooh,
okay, familiar songs that. But maybe it's the way that the lyrics are sung by the artist, or maybe the tempo of the song, and words and lyrics kind of get smushed together.
Yep.
And people start thinking they're hearing something else.
But okay, all right. So, I love it.
All right.
Hit
so
me.
I want to share a few with you, and then see if I don't know if you've got one or whatever.
I got
all right.
one. I got
so
one.
One of the most famous songs ever recorded, at least in our lifetimes, and that is the theme from Titanic, "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion.
I know who she is. I don't know the song. I've never seen the movie.
Oh, Brad.
I don't know, dude. I'm sorry.
Wait, so you just, okay. All right, "My Heart Will Go On." All right. "I believe that my heart will go on," or something like that. That's basically.
I wish I could sing it for
so
you. I
epic.
just don't know it.
And so some people sing, "I believe that the hot dogs go on." See, she says the heart does go on. "I believe that the heart does go on." And some people think the hot dogs go on. All right, how about, "I can see clearly now the rain is gone."
Who is Lorraine?
That's the misheard lyric.
Wait, what? No, I'm kidding. I knew that.
But see, that's what people think. He's talking about a woman named Lorraine who has left him. And he can see clearly now that she's gone. I don't know who she is. She must have been a real pistol.
Wait, dude. A real pistol. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're off the rails. Okay. "I Want to Hold Your Hand" by the Beatles. I want to hold your hand. Some people think "I Want to Hold Your Ham." No, that's not even
It's
right.
like a Thanksgiving song? What
Right, yeah.
A Christmas? Whoa, sorry. Whoa. Christmas.
Is
Ham. Christmas
turkey,
ham.
Thanksgiving.
Turkey
All right,
Thanksgiving.
gotcha.
Sorry. Whoa.
Just so you know, my family eats both meals. Is that allowed?
Yeah, you're psychopath.
Okay. Do you know the song "Africa" by Toto?
Oh, yeah.
Bless the rain
I have no idea what the words are.
Africa.
Yeah, I just know it's like...
That's it. Wow.
You like that?
Love that effect. There's a line in it that says, there's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And people, it really sounds like there's nothing that 100 men on Mars could ever do. All right. Those were kind of lame. So I need you to save this segment.
No, the segment's great, dude. This is great. We want to hear about the lyrics in your life. So the one example that I have is actually not me. It was my wife's college roommate. Okay, Stacy, and dear friend of ours. And anyways, there was an old Christian worship song. What's the song? It's better is one day in your courts. Better is one day in your house. Better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. They were at an event singing that song, which is to say how long ago we all went to college.
All right, are they singing in the audience, or are they singing?
No. They're in the audience.
Stage?
They're in the audience.
Because Lisa is
she is a worship leader, yes. But they were in the audience because they are reading the words on the screen. And Stacy leans over to Lisa and goes, "Is this the right lyrics?"
Oh, no.
And it's like, what do you mean, is this the right lyrics? Yes, the right lyrics. She thought it was better is a one day in your courts than a 1,000 Esway. 1,000 Esway being a location.
Okay.
Like, better is one day in your courts than 1,000 Esway. And it's like
Esway.
It's like where, like what? And so it took a lot of deconstructing that theology to be like, that's not like what?
That is. So
Anyways, there you go. That's all I got.
You know, they never had those problems with the hymns.
Yes, they did.
No, probably so.
Oh, I'm going to come up with a segment with hymns and be like, is this a third verse from the hymn, or is it a
yeah, which is it?
a medieval poem or something? I don't know.
Anyway, so thank y'all for chuckling along with us on this segment, and we'd love to hear any of your misheard lyrics. But thank you, as always, for listening.